What's up, family, man? You know, it's your boy, Uncle P, man. And this is the Cultivating Mature Positivity Podcast. And today we have a very, very important conversation we need to have. For those that know or don't know, this month is HIV AIDS Awareness Month, right? And it's very important that we talk about this disease and what it has done over the years it's been here, right? For a lot of people, HIV is something that they stopped thinking about years ago, or something that they were never given space to truly understand without fear. This isn't a back then conversation. This is a right now conversation. We're talking about what HIV looks like today in 2026, right? It's important. What changed, what's still misunderstood, and what people in Chester and throughout Delaware County need to know to protect their health and their peace, right? We're going to walk through the biggest myths that still live in our community, how HIV is managed today, what prevention really looks like, including PrEP and PEP, right? I don't know a lot of this stuff, right? I'm going to learn today, and we have guests, right? Where and how to get tested, what happens if someone tests positive, why messages like you equals you matter, and how stigma continues to block people from care. This episode is about education without judgment, right? Truth without shame, and access without fear. If you're listening and thinking I've been putting this off, you don't go get tested, I don't even know where to start, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it. Today I have two guests from Delaware County, the health department, Darian and Michael, right? Give me a brief what your job is and your roles at Delaware County Health Department.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Mike. I work with the Delaware County Health Department. I'm the supervisor for the STI HIV department. I've been working with the Delaware County Health Department for about 3 years, going to 4 years. And I was working at the health department in Philadelphia at the STI HIV department before transitioning to the Delaware County department.
Hi, everyone. I'm Darian. Thank you for having us on your podcast. We're super stoked to talk about this today. I'm an HIV STI disease intervention specialist with the Delaware County Health Department. So I work on open STI HIV new investigations, new reports in the county. And I specifically work in Chester City now.
Okay. All right. So we'll see each other. We should see each other a lot. All right. Let's set the foundation, right? For people who haven't thought about HIV in years, what do you want them to understand right now about HIV and AIDS in 2026?
So 2026, HIV and AIDS is still very prevalent in the community. Oftentimes when we're interacting with the community, it feels like people think it's a thing of the past, and it's really not. And the stigma is still there, so I understand why that perception of HIV and AIDS is still relevant in the community. But we're here for the community is the number one thing I want people to understand. We want to help. We offer free testing, and we offer a bunch of other free services that we'll get into later on in the podcast. But I really want people to know that it's not a thing of the past. It's still of the present.
Yes.
We're still dealing with high numbers of HIV and AIDS cases in the county, specifically in Chester. I can speak on Chester. I work on investigating those cases. And it's really important that we get out there, get people tested for HIV, and to know their status. Whether it's positive or negative, it's really important to know your status.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are the biggest myths you still hear in our community and throughout Delaware County?
Some of the biggest myths that we have in Delaware County is some people think once they have HIV, their life is done. Like there is no further life, once they are infected with HIV. And that's one of the major reasons I believe it's difficult for them to even discuss about it. With either family members or even their peers. And this is one of and sometimes some people think, once I have it, like I cannot have kids or I cannot have partners. They think, okay, once you have HIV, if you have kids, the kid is going to have it. or like if you have partner, you can transfer HIV to your partner. So those are some of the myths that we are experiencing with those that are like the new positive cases currently. So those are the myths that we are experiencing at our clinic.
I think another important myth to remember is people historically have tied HIV and AIDS to certain subpopulations or demographics of people. And while there are certain demographics that might be more at risk for HIV and AIDS, it happens to anyone. We see people, all different kinds of people, of all different lifestyles, get diagnosed and test positive for HIV and AIDS. So it's really, I think people don't get tested because they think that there's no possible way that it can happen to them, but that's not the case.
No, that's not the case. I'm not going to talk about my personal life and everything that I was out there doing, but I was playing around with a lot of dangerous things, right? I wasn't protecting myself the way we were talking earlier. You were saying how, chlamydia and gonorrhea and syphilis could be transferred through the mouth. And I was like, I thought that was something that could happen. Right. So I thank God every day, right, that I'm good, right? And as a matter of fact, as soon as the new year comes in, I'm going to go get checked and make sure my status is where I hope my status is, right?
And just to step in, because of that, most people don't want to be tested. They just think, okay, if I'm not tested, I don't know, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because of all this myth that is still existing.
Absolutely. Well, when I was running the streets, I always believed that if my partner went and got tested and she was good, I was good. All right, I don't got to go get tested.
Yeah.
But I have a different mindset as of today, and I want to be able to do what I'm supposed to do. We have another guest. Okay. Hello, Doc. How are you? You can't unmute her mic. Can you hear me? Nope, I can't hear you, Doc. You got to go out and come back in. So, we did have another guest show up. So, yeah, that's cool. What does it mean when people say HIV can be managed like other chronic conditions? Because I heard you say that you could still have kids while dealing with HIV, right? So explain that.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of progress in HIV medications and HIV management. Historically, back when HIV, the epidemic first happened, I think because there weren't the same management methods, people associated it with you get HIV and then you die of AIDS rather quickly. And that's definitely not the case anymore. There's a ton of new medications that make HIV very manageable. So this is where U equals U, U plus U equals U matter. So when you're on HIV medication after you get diagnosed, we look at something called a viral load, and that's measuring the amount of HIV in your bloodstream to make it in more simple terms. And once that number becomes undetectable, like if you don't have HIV, then you're not detectable. So we get that number down to an undetectable number, and then you're not able to transmit it to other people. Like it's very small chances that you would transmit it. So that's why if you're undetectable, you're not transmittable to other people, including if you have a fetus under the care and management of a physician, you wouldn't be able to transmit it to other people. So it's kind of like diabetes. So if you're taking your medication daily for diabetes, if you're on insulin, it's managing the same way. You take your medication daily, or however you've worked it out with your certain infectious disease provider. It's a very manageable illness.
Okay, when HIV first hit, right? This the way people thought when you get HIV, you're going to die of AIDS, right? People soon found out, right? So now what you're saying is it's manageable, right?
Yes.
To me, that sounds like it's been cured a little bit, right? And maybe just go ahead, explain that.
Yeah, there's no cure for HIV. It's still it's a lifelong illness. It's not going to go away.
Right.
And you still have to be very cognizant of opportunistic infections like pneumonia or the flu, like any other chronic illness you might have if you have a heart condition or another autoimmune condition. It's not cured. You still have it, but it can be managed with medication.
Okay,
And it's
that's well.
extremely important that people are following up with their providers when they're supposed to, whether it's monthly, yearly, every 6 months. It's kind of different for everyone based on the length of your diagnosis and the medications you're on. It's very important that people stay in care, and we do track people's care almost daily. But it is very manageable at this point.
Uh,
Yeah, once you're diagnosed with HIV and you see a doctor. For now, the Delaware County Health Department, we don't treat for HIV, but we do referral and we do what we call partner services. That means, interview your partner. Then you have to know how the infection came about, because our role and responsibility is to reduce the rate. We cannot eliminate it, but we can reduce it by reaching out to partners. We don't judge, based upon, once you have it, our responsibility is to make sure, you receive the proper treatment. So once you have it and you are on medication, once you go in on your appointment basis, they will do a blood draw. They will check, just like what Darren said, they will check your viral load just to make sure, no, you are undetectable. Once you are undetectable, you can live with it forever. You'll be fine. Everything will be okay with you, because but the thing is, you have to take your medication as prescribed. So once you take your medication as prescribed, you can have a baby, that you will not be able to transfer. You can have a partner that you cannot transfer. Yeah, but the important thing is to take your medication. It's just like having diabetes. You have to take your insulin, on a daily basis as prescribed. So it's the same thing for HIV now. Now, we always inform our patient that, it's not like 20 years back or even 10 years back. Now it's really, yes.
Right. Well, let's add our other guests on here, Dr. Lynette Lanalta
Lanelsa.
Nobles.
Yes, it is. Hello, how are
How are
you?
how are you?
All right.
Right. So we were just talking about AIDS, HIV, how it's you could get to undetectable and not be able to give it to someone else. Do you have any information on that as well?
Yeah, so listening in on what was already said, definitely everything is expressed as far as it relies on taking your medication. And I'm a pharmacist working at AIDS or HIV positive patient clinic. So basically, my concern as a pharmacist is making sure patients have access to medication.
Okay.
So without medications, then we won't have all the successes that we have right now. So the biggest concern going on right now is changes in insurance, policies, making medication harder to get, decreasing the income limits for some of the supports that we have, especially here in Pennsylvania. So the access right now to medication is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So without that, then, we could go backwards. And so that's the biggest concern. How do we make sure that we don't make it harder for patients to get medications? Because making it easy is why everyone is doing so much better. We have like 91% undetectable rate in our patients currently in the country.
Wow.
And that's because we made access easy.
Right.
But right now, it looks like we're trying to make steps to make it more difficult, and that's a concern.
It is.
So
It is
that's
definitely.
where we are right now.
So, what are the most effective prevention options right now?
As far as treatment options,
Yes.
so basically, all treatment options are effective. It's just a matter of what makes it easier for the patient. So currently, the most successful way that we're making access better for patients is the injectable options.
Okay.
So, patients can come in once every other month and get an injection and not have to take any oral medications every single day. And as a result, they're able to suppress their virus, but not have to, commit to following a regular schedule every single day. So that makes it so much easier, especially for our homeless population, because they have nowhere to store medications, things get stolen, lost. And, they're basically in and out, not really sticking to a regular schedule, don't have a calendar or something to keep track of. So when we can get medications in them and they can stay in them for a sustained period of time, then that definitely helps us be able to control our patients and keep them suppressed so that they don't spread it to anyone else while they're, out there navigating the world. So that's our best option right now, injections, which are very expensive,
Hmm.
and it relies on insurance companies being willing to pay for them.
Mm. I hear a lot about prep and pep, right? I don't know a lot of that, the lingo behind that. Can you explain? And anybody can take this question. What exactly is prep, and what exactly is pep, and then the difference between them two? Who wants to raise your hand? Raise your hand.
Yeah, I can take it on if you
All
would
right.
like.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Um,
The medication base is all you.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, we have several options, just like HIV treatments, where you have the oral tablet options. But again, the most effective option we have available right now are injectables. And as of the last couple of months, we've actually had a 12-month injection that can prevent HIV. It's called lenacapavir. And basically, a patient can receive an injection and have protection from HIV for 12 months and then basically just come once, twice a year for an injection and be safe. So that is the best option. Unfortunately, that is an expensive option that a lot of insurance companies don't want to pay for because from their perspective, it's like, well, they don't even have anything. Why are we spending this much money for something that they don't even have? And it's like, well, it's more expensive if they had it. So why not spend a little money to prevent it?
So prep is pretty much like I'm just
Prevent.
using regular terms. A get out of jail free card, right? I don't have to worry about contracting HIV as long as I get this prep shot. That's what you're saying,
Basically you can see it that way in that if a patient has a lifestyle that puts them at high risk of acquiring HIV, PrEP is a way to decrease that risk substantially. Now, it does not prevent you from having other STDs and
right?
being infected by those things.
Okay,
But HIV is one of those things where you can't just treat and it'll go away.
right.
So this is the best option we have out there to be able to prevent a patient from contracting HIV.
Yeah.
And they can do it as needed with the oral versions, like if they know that they're going to engage in sexual behaviors that are unsafe, they can take tablets ahead of time to prevent that from happening. But the best option is when you're not planning it, it's your life day to day, have it already in your system, and that way you're preventing infections that
So
occur
would
if
you
a patient has it today.
suggest almost like the COVID shot? Everybody get a prep, right? Is that
Well,
something
the, the
that's
thing
out
is,
there?
the thing is, everybody, if you are having engaging in sex in any way, shape, or form, you are potentially at risk. So if that's the case, then yeah, everybody. But we do insurance companies do reserve it for those who are at high risk. But in general, anyone who is engaging in sexual practices
Right,
is at
is at
risk.
high risk, right? Because somebody could
Right.
have it and just. I know back in the day you had people that had it and just was going around infecting a whole bunch of people, right? I know I had
Right.
a
And maybe they don't even know, or they could be, just not taking care of it. You, as I heard earlier, so maybe they're not undetectable, and so they're putting others at risk. So yes, it definitely is a great idea for anyone who is engaging in sexual activity to protect themselves in
it
that
only
way.
takes one time. I remember a friend told me a story about his homie who had messed with this girl, met her at the bar, took her home, and she wrote on his mirror, "Welcome to the world of AIDS."
Oh
So
my goodness.
right, so I mean, like that's a serious situation. So now you're saying I can get this shot once a year and not have to worry
Twice a
about
year.
being affected.
Hmm.
Wow, that's
Exactly. And
prep, and
we
that's
just
prep.
need that's prep. We need to get the word out that this is available, and then also insurance companies on board to pay for it.
Absolutely. And what is pep?
So PEP is something that happens after you had an exposure, and then you basically within 72 hours want to seek treatment to prevent it from going from an exposure to actually becoming an infection. So it gives you a window of opportunity to prevent a full-blown infection from occurring by taking similar medications that we use for HIV treatment to prevent full-blown infection from occurring as long as you treat it in a timely fashion within 72 hours.
Full blown infection from HIV or full blown infection from AIDS? Because that was a
Well,
thing, right?
that's totally different. Yeah. So AIDS is basically an infection of HIV that went to the point where your immune system is severely damaged.
Right.
And basically, if we're talking about technical terms, your CD4 count is less than 200. And so that means your immune system is highly compromised. So
Right.
not that. we're just getting infected in the first place. Like you can be exposed, but there's a window of opportunity to prevent you from being infected. So the PEP is actually preventing you from getting infected. And that actually can occur in babies too. So if a pregnant woman was to if she is infected with HIV to prevent it from transferring to the baby, you would actually treat the baby to prevent the baby from converting to HIV positive. So same thing.
I did not know any of this stuff was out, right? You see commercials on TV,
Mhm.
and for me, I'm not judging anybody, but when I see two men start to kiss, I change the channel, right? So it could be that's the information that I'm missing. It's right there in
Hmm.
front of my face, but they're not bringing that to me and to my community. You feel me? Like to talk to
Yeah.
us about, listen, you want to prevent getting HIV, you can get PrEP, or you want if you think you were exposed to it, you can get PEP. You just blew my mind, Doc. Like literally, right? Because I didn't even know this was out there. So
Yep.
let's take this back to Delaware County. Where can Chester residents go for HIV testing, either free or low cost, and what are the hours or options available?
Mhm.
So for Delaware County, for the health department, we have two clinics. We have one in Chester and we have another in Yaden. And we are open from Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we have appointment basis and walk-ins. And everything is free. So normally when a patient comes in, we test for gonorrhea, chlamydia, HIV, and syphilis
And Hep C.
and Hep C as well. So do those three tests. Everything is free. Then once your result comes in, we'll let you the patient knows about his or her result. So if you are positive for gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis, we do free test and treatment as well. So we'll call the patient will come in, and we treat for free. And if you have a partner, we can also treat for free as well. So except maybe if there's a holiday, we are closed, but we are open 5 days a week from Monday through Friday from 10 to 3, and everything is free.
Yep. So the address for the Chester Clinic is 151 West 5th Street in Chester. That's on West 5th and Penn. The address for the Yaden Clinic is 125 Chester Avenue in Yaden. And then we also have these kiosks. They're called Test and Go kiosks.
I heard about them.
Yes, these
Yes.
are really exciting.
So they got a lot of good stuff inside these kiosks.
Yes.
So let's
Yes.
break this kiosk down because I was talking to somebody. It was like, yeah, they got morning after pills. I
Yeah.
said, for free? I'm thinking
Yeah.
for
Everything.
$50. Yeah,
Yeah.
so tell them about that. I think that's exciting.
Yeah, check out our kiosks. Although I'll name a few of the locations. I don't want to miss any because I know it's another department who manages them. So they add them and kind of do what they do with them. There's one at 69th Street Terminal. There's one at the Courthouse and Media. There's one at the Keystone Center in Chester. And I know I'm missing two. I think there's one at Delaware County
Yes.
Community College.
Mhm.
And I think there's another one somewhere. I'm pretty sure there's five, but don't quote me on that. So in these test and go kiosks, at least relevant to the STI department, there's STI HIV testing kits. So you can retrieve a kit from the test and go, test yourself at home. These are with swabs. There's a whole directional manual in the kits, swabs, urine, and little finger blood prick tests to test for syphilis and HIV. And I actually think they have Hep C in there too. There's two options. You can take the pack after you pack it back up and how it shows you to. You can return it to the kiosk for pickup, or you can return it to a UPS facility for pickup. They'll send it to the lab that we use. And then you can get the results the way it tells you on the key card or the little card that's in there. If anything's positive, the health department will, of course, be notified, and we will reach out to you and offer you free treatment for the STI. There's also more directions about that in the packs. There's also free condoms in there, so that's a great option just to visit the kiosk. And there's a ton of other stuff. Like there was COVID tests, there was blankets for the cold, like for outside heat blankets. There's a ton of stuff in there, so I would definitely check them out. They're a great option if you're not ready to come into a clinic. If you feel some fear about coming into one of our clinics, they're a good stepping stone. And then another thing is, if you can't get to one of our clinics, is the AIDS Care Group offers STI testing. They have a couple locations in Chester and Sharon Hill, and they offer low to no cost testing based on your insurance, based on your situation, because they operate under a Ryan White facility. So they can there is free testing available through them as well.
Listen, when I heard about it, this is someone that
Oops, we
works.
can't hear you. Is that me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, we hear you.
I couldn't hear you, the DJ. Or
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't hear me. You gotta go back out. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
This is what happens on StreamYard. People go in, come
Yeah.
out, they can't hear me, right? I'm trying to get all that stuff together. But where was I at? I was thinking about the kiosk, right? So the people that are in charge of that kiosk, send me their information. You got my email? Send me their information because I want to talk to them. I want to talk about the kiosk and what's in the kiosk and all that good stuff, where the kiosk is located. Because I saw a couple posts up about it, but I didn't pay it. Again, things go over my head. If I don't feel like it applies, I just let it go, right? But that's important, right? To know that, they got more than after pills inside of these kiosks.
Yeah, I don't know about like everything that's in the kiosks, and I think some of the stock changes based on like funding and whatnot.
Right.
I'm not totally sure, but I'll definitely send you their information. They're a great tool.
And everything is free.
Right,
All free,
everything is free. So I gotta put my social security number in. How do I get inside the kiosk?
No, it asks very minimal information. So when you walk up, there's like a little pad. You pick what you want. It's free, obviously, so there's no money transaction. I know for the testing, you do have to give some of your information because we need to be able to contact you for if the test results are positive. But for like the COVID test or like any of the other things in there, you don't need to give your information, I don't think.
Man, that's crazy. I did not.
Now you don't need your security number either, even for COVID. Maybe the thing you need like your first and last name, date of birth, and telephone number. They'll be able to contact you if there is any positive result. But like we don't need your social security number, all those, no, the kiosks in there. We only need something that'll be able to contact you if there's a positive result. Or like if you call us, something that we can confirm that it's you. Because STI results is really HIPAA, because of HIPAA violation, we really want to keep it confidential. So we really want something like somebody cannot just call and we give the information. We have to ask certain questions, including demographic, for us to relay your information to your test result.
Well, that's amazing, man. The the things that are available to us now, right? To have us looking at HIV and AIDS in a different lens, from a different point of view, I think it's good, right? Dr. Linalta, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so it had dropped off for a second, but I'm
Yep, and she's going again. Oh man, listen, StreamYard is crazy. Anyway, what support systems exist locally, like case management, clinics, counseling, to help with insurance or medication? Do they do that at the clinics?
So we try our best to help with case management. This is probably one of the biggest obstacles in HIV care today, is finding organizations that are helping HIV people diagnosed with HIV or living with HIV manage their illness, aside from insurance providers who take insurance, because a lot of people that get diagnosed don't have insurance, or the insurance isn't able to cover their HIV care. And there used to be more organizations, especially in Philadelphia, that were helping people living with HIV get jobs or pay their rent if they weren't able to get a job. This was back when there was more of a stigma around HIV. But do you see? I just saw that. Okay.
Listen,
yes.
I get it. Pregnancy tests are important. I'm not saying
but there are really, the main organization that we're looking at in Delaware County is the AIDS Care Group. We rely on them a lot for help. So we do the case management when the person is newly diagnosed, and then we kind of hand it off to an actual HIV provider, because we don't provide HIV medications at the health department at this time. So we really rely on ACG at this time. Of course, we work with any provider somebody wants to go to, or if their insurance covers it, any infectious disease provider, any PCP. But we really rely on them a lot. They do have some like food pantry options for people living with HIV. They do have case managers and social workers over there. So we kind of warm hand off a lot of times to them. And they're great. And all of our patients who end up seeing them for their HIV care have like great things to say. So we had partnered with them heavily.
And also before we used to have Croatia Hospital, which also, used to have all those facilities, but now they're closed. So
Right.
that's really one of our concerns in Delaware County.
Absolutely.
So now, just like what Darren said, we only have ACG. Okay, there's Mercy Fitzgerald, but like their turnaround is long. So really, for now, we only have really the individual or the company that we're really working with currently is AIDS Care Group, ACG, which have all those privileges because Croatia is closed. So really, if we can talk what really we need in relation to HIV and AIDS is to have more resources that are available to patients that are positive for HIV and AIDS, so that you'll be able to have all those facilities.
Yeah, I will add there's definitely a good bit more facilities who offer those kind of services in Philadelphia. When I used to manage Upper Darby, a lot of the people living in Upper Darby would just opt to go to a Philadelphia provider because they have Philadelphia Fight and they have Puentes de Salud, like way more providers than we have in Delaware County. But I can't recommend ACG enough for their services.
Absolutely. Thank you, ACG. Truly appreciate it.
Shout out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
So, people keep calling me and it's dropping me out. I apologize.
Right. It's okay. It's all right. I get it.
I'm from Philadelphia Fight, and definitely if patients need somewhere to go that is able to take care of them and they can't get care in the area, we take patients from everywhere.
Okay.
So definitely we are an option, and it's great to hear that you have this kiosk service, which I don't know, is news to me. So I'm thinking that that's something we need to look into to allow patients to privately, find situations, and then hopefully I'm assuming that all the information that they need to access care will be included with the kits or however it is. But my question is, are these kiosks located like outside of the clinic? Are they in the neighborhood? Like, where are they?
So most of them are actually not at our clinics. The one is located at the clinic in Yaden, really because that's the health department. That's where a bulk of the health department activity happens. It's not just an STI clinic. So in Chester, this is primarily an STI and tuberculosis clinic. In Yaden, there's a lot of stuff that goes on over there with our population health department. Epidemiology is over there. There's a lot. Vaccines are over there. And then the other ones are located at the 69th Street Terminal. So that's really in the community. People are circulating through there, obviously, all day and night. The Keystone Centers in the Chester community. Delaware County Community College, of course, is getting a ton of foot traffic from students and just Delaware County residents. And then, where did I say the other one is? There's another one.
Yeah, and also you can access it 24 hours. It doesn't mean like certain 24 hours is accessible. So you can go in 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and you get what you want. So,
yeah.
So you can access this 24 hours.
Yeah, it's over at the courthouse in Media.
Okay. Awesome.
And they're outside, so you don't have to go inside anywhere to access it. You can just walk up, get what you need out, and boogie out.
That's what I was wondering, but that's definitely good information that I'm thinking I would like to have here at our clinic, just so people know and go out there. And especially we have multiple clinics here, not just HIV clinic. We also have a family care clinic for all patients. So and check their status and see who they should seek for care. It doesn't HIV only.
Yes. So this is for you, Doc. If someone tests positive, what does treatment look like today, right? Daily meds, long-acting options, and how effective are they?
Okay, so definitely what's different today than in the past is we can actually same day start patients on treatment, so they can find out their status and come into the office and start way, because treatment options are safer. So there's not as much concern when it comes to having to check your labs and make sure everything's okay. We still need to do that, but we can start them right away and then know that they're pretty safe until we get those results to see, how their, kidney function, liver function, things like that are going. But then also resistance is another reason why we used to hesitate with starting patients right away, because you didn't know if they had resistance to certain medications. So the newer options out there, there's less chance of resistance occurring. So once we, find out they're positive, we can start them right away. We'll still check their status just to make sure, but very effective options, very safe, less side effects, and can immediately start them without too much work about any problems immediately. So that's the difference today compared to in the past, where you would have to wait, and you're kind of concerned about your health while you're waiting, and then potential chance of spread while you're waiting. But yeah, once you start treatment, then you can actually become undetectable fairly quickly, which also decreases your risk of spreading it to someone else.
Now we were just talking about undetectable equals untransmittable
Yep.
earlier, but can you explain why that message matters so much?
Yeah, it's definitely made a change in general. Like I heard mentioned earlier, you can actually have a couple who one is positive, one is negative, and you can get together with that person and not have any worries as long as they're taking their medications regularly that that other person will get, infected with HIV. They can have a family. Really it takes away that relationship stress. And then also you can keep your information private. You don't have to let anyone know if you are undetectable and you're in a relationship with someone. You don't necessarily have to disclose. You can keep that private as long as you are, maintaining your health and not putting anyone else at risk. So it does help. And then people knowing that will make them encouraged to take their medications because they know that that keeps them safe and keeps others safe as well, and then helps them keep their privacy.
So if they were in a relationship and they stopped taking their medication, they could then transfer it to the other person.
Exactly.
What would stop a person from doing something like that, right? Like people be petty. People be petty, doc. Just saying. Like you get
Well,
mad at your boyfriend and you like, oh you, yeah, and then you just stop taking your medication. Now you give it to him, right? So
or another situation where you lose your insurance and it forces you to stop taking your medications and that relationship at risk. So yeah, it is highly dependent on a lot of things in order
yes.
to work. But we want to make sure that we decrease any of those barriers that could cause those to happen, and hopefully it doesn't come down to pettiness.
Yeah.
I wish we could bet on that, but 9 times out of 10, it's always revolving around pettiness, right?
Yeah.
Chester specific reality and community action. This is back to Delaware County Health Department. What trends or concerns are you seeing in Chester? The age groups, the access to barriers, or misinformation? Right. We need to get this out there. We need to get this out there to the young kids because I know there's some kids running around like that might have a few STIs or something like that. But go ahead.
So in relation to that, we're just going to talk about STI in general.
Right.
Some of the concerns that we've been experiencing in DCHD is that kids that are as young as 12, 13 have been infected with more so like gonorrhea and chlamydia. And in most cases, once the result is sent to us, and because they have to give us permission to discuss about their positive test result with their parents or their caregiver.
At
Most times,
12 years old. At 12 years old.
yeah. So the thing is the age bar is different from general what people think about. Like from 13 and above, the patient has to give us consent to talk about their test results with anybody else, with somebody, whoever they want us to do. So people think it's 18, but it's really not 18, it's 13. Yeah, so it's something that really people don't know about. Like say some people like most times like when we call say, oh, my kid is just 14. Why won't you tell me? By right, we are not supposed to based upon the rule. It's from 13 and above, they have to have either verbal or written consent for us to discuss about their test result to anybody that they want us to discuss about. So I know you're making yeah, so that's the difference. So at the end of the day, so normally if they give us like a verbal permission to discuss, like when we discuss it with either their parents or their significant other or their caregiver, they was like, oh, my kid is not having sex. Failing to realize that you can have gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis through oral, anal, or vaginal sex. So most of them will be like, oh, wow, my kid is not having sex. So until we really explain to them before they really understand what is going on. So really, that's why testing comes in. It doesn't mean because your child is 13 or 14, he or she cannot be infected with STI. So those are some of the things that we've been experiencing. With dealing with parent in relation to their child or children having STI.
Yeah, I think my main concern right now, in regards to the city of Chester, is that people aren't getting tested after the close of closure. I really see, just because we do daily surveillance on new reports, it just feels like the testing has gone down because people aren't visiting the ER like they used to, of course. And I know there's long waits at like places like Riddle just because of the overflow, or they're going into the city. And when they go into the city, that complicates our surveillance process a little bit. They don't have easy access to testing, or they perceive or feel like they don't have easy access, even though we're here to test them. I think a lot of people don't know, or there's stigma related about coming just directly to an STI clinic instead of going to an ER where you might feel like you're going for something else, or you are going for something else and you just happen to get tested while you're there. So I feel like the biggest issue right now is it seems like people aren't getting tested as much as they were, which is understandable given the circumstances of not having a provider right here like we did before.
I want to know why the age 12, right? At the age of 12, I still have to take care of this child for another at least 6 years till they turn 18. Who initiated the age 12 that they have privacy, that they don't have to tell me what they're doing, or they have to sign off on the fact that you got to tell the parent? Who did that?
So it's 13.
It's 13.
It's 13,
and
but
above.
I know
Yeah.
it doesn't make that much of a difference.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Who started at 13? Is this what Macaulay Culkin, when he was suing his parents to get? Is that when this all started? Right? Like,
it's state law. We're under Pennsylvania state law. The age of confidentiality is 13, so we have to abide by that. It does make our work really tricky because 13-year-olds are often engaging in sex, but they don't have their own cell phone for us to talk to them on. So most of the times the parent is involved because the 13-year-old typically needed a ride to go to the urgent care or the doctor, or the parent was at the pediatrician. So a lot of times there is involvement with the parent. But we did initiate a free confidential teen clinic at the health department because we were seeing such high volume of new teenage positive STI HIV test results. So we have an after school clinic on every other Tuesday, just here in Chester though. But it does complicate things, but it is the law. The age of confidentiality is 13.
I know I promised y'all that this would only take 45 minutes, but y'all have brought in some new energy for me with the children, state laws and all that good stuff. And I'm gonna try to find the people that I can talk to about that, because I know that's not on y'all, so I don't want to drill that down to y'all. We'll figure that information out in the next coming weeks. Trust me, we're on top of that. But youth, parents, and schools, man, where can teens or young adults go for accurate information and services without judgment? You know, you were telling me earlier that, you know, a person can track a STI not just from vaginal sex, but also from, you know, in the mouth and all that good stuff. I used to think that was one way to not get it. Now you're telling me my thoughts have been wrong all these 46 years of my life. And I feel kind of slow, right? So, you know, where can the students go? Who can they talk to? Do y'all make the rounds in Chester schools, in Chester School District? Like, what happens? Where can they go?
So it's something that we've been trying to do STI education in high school, but you know it's a big barrier that we are unable to overcome currently. Currently, we'll just go to colleges for now to do STI testing and treatment. But for high school, it has been very difficult for us to have access to it. Just do STI education. We've tried our level best, but we're going to keep trying because we know maybe it's something new to the county and something that 2026, we're going to keep trying till we get a breakthrough in relation to that, because we have the manpower to do STI education. And also, in a not too distant future, hopefully like next year, we're going to have a mobile van where we can use that to go to any school for STI test screening. So, but for now, that's
Why do you feel like it's difficult to get into the school to talk to the kids? Who's blocking that? Because just let me know. I'll go talk to them.
The thing is, normally they say like, you know, we are trying to educate the kids about sex.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's like has to go through the school board.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time the school board shoots down like any kind of sex ed. I think they're viewing it as sex ed and not STI education. And we tried to explain that
the kids are already having sex.
They're already having sex. It's not like we're not teaching them about sex. We're not telling them to have sex. We're just telling them that these are the
protect
services,
themselves.
yes, that we can help you with if you are engaging in sexual activity. But it's been a real barrier. I was able to get to one event at a high school, but it didn't have a lot of traction. It was primarily an event for a different program, and I kind of just like made my own table in the corner. Right. But we do have some like good teen materials if we were able to distribute them. I think we distributed some to the Boys and Girls Club in Chester. Like we have some pamphlets that are geared more toward teenagers. They look like prettier and more attractive than like the anatomy photos we have on adult pamphlets. Absolutely. And then we did make a really great video. We worked really hard on it. It's facts and myths video geared toward high schoolers. We shot it at a high school in Delaware County. And it's really great. We would love to distribute it in high school. Yeah,
send it to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, how long is the video?
I think it's like 2 minutes.
Yeah, send it to me. We'll put it on CMP. This is the place where I just want the information to pour out, right? I just want to give it to the community to help the community, right? If we talk to our children in a way that we know they are acting, but are respectful in the way that we approach the children and talk to our children, it shouldn't be a problem, right? So I'm all for it. As far as you have your child is 13 and can't I'm gonna find somebody to talk to about that.
I think one thing I wanted to add about that is that typically what we say, like even to parents, like if we were able to do the education on protection and prevention methods, they wouldn't have to come to our clinic and deal with us on the aftermath of it, because then we end up seeing them for the interview process for the partner elicitation and the connection to care or the connection to treatment. And we should be looking at the education part as really a prevention method and not like that we're telling them that they have to have sex or something.
Doctor, I really can't say, I'm not going to say what you know up there in Philly, what you're experiencing with the youth, but do you feel how they feel?
Yeah, we actually have part of our is a youth adolescent clinic, and I don't know if you ever heard of the acronym YHEP, but we're actually initiated that for educating our youth about sexual practices and safe sex and things like that. So it's from the ages 13 to 26, and we open doors. We used to have it was easier where they could just drop in and hang out, things like that. So not the same as it was. Things have changed. So it is now an official clinic, but we do use that organization to outreach for our youth, to educate them and to provide health care if they need it. The hardest part for us, when you were talking about confidentiality at the age of 13, is they're under their parents' insurance. And how do you navigate, their privacy and still bill their parents' insurance? That's the most difficult part, because a lot of times they, try to, we try to get it under the table, not using the insurance, and complications because a lot of things are covered without insurance. So that's the hard part. But either way, we do have open doors in Philadelphia, and there are a lot of organizations that link with the school district, who goes into the schools and provide education as well. So they have like collaborations that help educate. You just have to have parents sign off that they're okay with their students participating in that.
So for us here, they don't need, like, kids don't need insurance. Testing is free, treatment is free. So yeah, they don't need insurance. And also when I was working, because I used to work for the health department in Philly, we used to have access to high schools. Yeah, we had a whole team that used to go to high schools. They do education, and those that want to be tested, they do urine tests for gonorrhea, chlamydia. So yeah, we used to go to high schools they have a whole team that will go to high school for sex education and testing, which was really, really fruitful.
When I was in high school, they was running around, Chester has the highest rate of STD and all this other stuff. So that's where it starts, right? So if we're not informing and giving the education that our children deserve, they need to know about how to prevent all of this stuff. They're new to it, right? So of course they're going to jump in. Yeah, let's go, right? So and then you end up with something and you don't want to tell nobody. You end up with it for a long time, and it ends up affecting you, longer and whatever. I'm just glad, and I clutch my pearls, right? Because I was a part of that life. I played in that arena, and I can walk away and say I don't have anything holding me back, right? Or I don't. But this PrEP situation, I'm gonna see what's up with that, because I'm not saying I'm gonna continue to do the dumb stuff. I'm just saying you never know, right? You really never know. How does HIV prevention intersect? This is for you, Doc, with substance abuse and harm reduction.
Exactly. So that is a huge here at Philadelphia Fight, where we service that community. And the biggest thing is, like I said earlier, they're not, they don't have access to homes. They don't have access to keeping things safe. So if we can at least give them something to keep them from being exposed to HIV through syringes, they might not have access to clean syringes, even though we have provide them, but some people aren't, privy to being able to access those things. So not having to worry about getting HIV because they are being treated with PrEP does decrease some of the things that we have to deal with, but we're going to meet them where they are. We're going to try to work with them if they're ready to, do something different in their lives when it comes to using. But while they're still in their situation, why not find the best way we can keep them safe from contracting HIV during that process? So that's definitely one of the biggest impacts that we can have using PrEP in that population. And we do have affiliations with organizations that go out to the community to help bring them in for those type of things. So, and we go into the prisons, go into the streets, things like that, to help at least get that population cared for in that way. Provide them.
Absolutely. Thank you. You guys, Delaware County Health Department, you got anything to add for that question or no?
I'll just piggyback off of what the doctor said, that we do work really hard at linking people to PrEP care. It's one of our main focuses on our STI investigations, especially when because we're seeing a lot of people after they've already been diagnosed with an STI, which once you're diagnosed with an STI, you're at risk for HIV, like, especially if you've diagnosed with gonorrhea a certain number of times, your risk goes up. So we work really hard at linking people to PrEP care. Residents can always feel free to call the health department for more information about PrEP or for a referral for a PrEP program. It's definitely probably the most effective way at this point, aside from, of course, condom use, effectively using condoms. But PrEP is a really great tool to use to prevent HIV.
Yeah, Jordan, that's what you're going to do while I'm doing a podcast. Thank you. That's my daughter. That's the boss of the radio station, right? It's time for lunch, I think she's telling me. But I want to thank you guys for coming through here, giving your information. If there's anything you want to say before we leave, the floor is yours. Let's go with Delaware County Health Department, and then Doctor, we'll come to you.
So we encourage everybody to do testing, and at the health department, we have 2 locations. They are all free. We are open from 10 to 3. We do STI tests, we test for gonorrhea, chlamydia, HIV, syphilis, and Hep C, and everything is free. And if there is any positive test results for gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, we also do free treatment, and we are open 5 days a week. So we encourage everybody to be tested, and it's very important to be tested.
Yeah. Any questions about any STI or HIV related procedures, or just any question, there's no stupid questions, you can call our Delaware County Wellness Line. The number is 484-276-2100. There's a great team that can help you out, or they'll forward you over to one of the people who work in our department, and we will help you in any way that we can.
Thank you. Definitely appreciate that. Doctor, you're next. Go ahead.
You can hear me? Okay. I was just like to add, just in relation to being able to continue to provide these services. A lot of these services are dependent on funding from the government, particularly our Ryan White funding. So right now it is in jeopardy. So if anyone can reach out to their politicians in their area to, advocate for the fact that these Ryan White funds are essential and we do not need them taken away or decreased or cut in any way. So that is right now our biggest concern, is losing this funding that we can be able to provide these types of options for free. And it's because we get government funding. So we don't want to lose it, but it is in jeopardy.
Listen, Doc, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody for stopping through and coming through here. Anytime you feel as though you want to do this platform is here for this reason, right? To talk to our community, to give information to our community. So anytime you were saying the Ryan White funding,
Yes.
right? Can you explain that just for a little bit? Like, what is it and what does it cover?
Yeah. So White actually is how a lot of our clinics function. We get money from the government, specifically AirTag, for the purposes of providing care, providing medication, providing services to patients who are either uninsured, underinsured, or just not able to access. Going out doing outreach to those patients. All of these are coming from funding that is, basically AirTag for this purpose. And right now, the administration currently is saying, oh, everybody's doing great, we don't need it anymore. And not understand the reason they're doing great is because of these fundings. And if you take it away, it's just like we're doing with the measles right now. So the whole point is, why take away something that's working? We need it to continue so that we don't go backwards.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Barry. I appreciate you. Like I said, anytime you want to stop through, just hit me up. We can set up another one and we can do it. I'm gonna go check out those vending machines that they got. Take some pictures of that. But I want you to give the people that are in charge of that my information. We can set up another interview and come through here and talk about the things that are being offered to our community. Thank you for your time, man. Thank you for your knowledge, your commitment to serving our community, not just Chester, not just Philly, but throughout Delaware County, throughout the state of Pennsylvania. Conversations like this matter, right? But what matters most is just us making sure that we know where to go to get help and what help is available, right? So thank you. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Listen, no, HIV and AIDS is not what it was 20 years ago. It's not, right? I wouldn't be honest if I told you it was, right? But it's still something that we have to make sure our community knows about, right? It's still something that we have to make sure we are prepped, right, to deal with. I want to thank my guest today for taking the time to educate me, right? Because I don't know everything, right? And I want to make sure my community heard this message correctly, right? There's a way that you can get a prep shot, right? To just get you right, so you don't have to worry about. I still want you to use condoms, right? Don't be like Uncle P and don't use your condoms, right? Protect yourself. But if you can get a shot that can bring down the you catching HIV, right, or being put into a bad situation, think about that. You feel me? Like, think about using the resources that are available to you, community. Come on, man. This is Uncle P, man. This was the Cultivating Mature Positivity Podcast, man. I want to thank our guests today for coming through here and giving us the information that we needed, man. It's cmpradio.net. You already know it's the station. Yeah, man. We're done with today's show. I appreciate everybody for stopping through. I appreciate all the viewers and everybody that was here. Much appreciated. And we're out of here. Peace.